Jodi Barber lost her son to an overdose of prescription drugs on January 8, 2010. Jared was a graduate of Aisha High School. Since his death, Jodi has been on a crusade to get the word out, hoping to spare other families the pain she has endured. Since then, she has dedicated her life to helping young teens and adults who are struggling with drug addiction. Jodi partnered with Brant, who is also here today, to create a film that would spread prescription drug awareness that has been shown in many of our local high schools, both public and private. Please join me in welcoming Jodi and Christy.
Hi everybody, thank you for being here today. It's so important to me. As Jenna said, I'm here because I lost my son. He was 19 years old. This is his picture here, Jared. And it's going to be 2 years on Sunday. I'm here to save a life. I'm here because I don't want any other families to go through the devastation that me and my family are going through. He left behind a brother who's 17, and he was his best friend. So this is an epidemic. Prescription pill overdoses is an epidemic out here in Orange County. In South County alone, there's been over 100 overdose deaths. That's a lot in the last 3 years, ages 15 to 24. Kids, you just need to make the right choices. It's all about the choice that you make. Don't be around others that are, doing drugs. Stay away from it, because once you start, you are hooked, and it's hard to stop. You will become addicts. These pills are highly addicting. Opiates are killing. This is what's killing the kids, are the opiates. But it starts with synthetic heroin. It starts with Vicodin and muscle relaxers, which leads to the opiates. There's a pill in particular called Opana. Has anyone heard of it? Okay, Opana is for terminal cancer, and it's about 100 times worse than Oxycontin, and it's given by a doctor, a dirty doctor. These kids don't have cancer, and this is what they're abusing, and this is how they're dying, as well as the deadly combinations of pills. So my suggestion is stay away from pills, period. Stay away from the pills lead to heroin. Stay away from that. The pills are expensive, so now kids are abusing heroin as well. Black tar heroin, it's a lot cheaper. I'm going to introduce Brant, and then we'll show the film. Thank you.
We produced Overtaken just for this audience right here. It's good families in good neighborhoods like Jodi's, because there's a misconception that it can't happen here, it can't happen to us. If you can imagine being at a party and someone came up to you and said, let's shoot heroin, most of you would be mortified and imagine that would never even happen. But if someone said, let's split this pill, it's prescribed by a doctor, it's make you have a good high, and it's safe because it's from a doctor, you can imagine maybe being curious about that. By splitting these pills, most of them have a time-release coating that medication is designed to be given in 12 hours. Or maybe you're scared to try it and you think, I'll just try half because that sounds a little scary. By breaking that pill in half, the time-release coating is removed and 12 hours of narcotic medication are given into the system. That stops your respiratory system in about 20 minutes and is very often fatal. We've had, of the overwhelming number of the kids who have died in this area have died of the drug she mentioned, Opana. It has that time-release coating. So you can see where sometimes just something that doesn't seem so scary like shooting heroin, actually that half a pill of Opana is more deadly than heroin, meth, and cocaine combined. That's information we're trying to give because most people have never heard of a drug that's killed 100 kids in this area. We are now number 2 in the entire nation for accidental overdoses in your age group. If you hear that, you think it must be like Detroit or New York City or somewhere more seedy. No, the number 2 place in the entire nation is right here in South Orange County. And it's happening at parties, and it's happening in people's houses innocently enough. Let's just try half of this and see what it's like. So that's what we're here to educate you about. We're also here to break the myth that it only happens to like bad families. You're going to meet a girl that could be any one of you in this audience. She went to Santa Margarita Catholic High School. She was a great student, a cheerleader, a great family, and she decided to experiment with some drugs, and you're going to see in her first words where that took her. She's out here, as Jodi and I are, changing lives, and we hope you'll take what we say seriously, because it really is a life or death situation. One last thing we want to mention that's really important. If you are ever with friends and they've been using pills or drinking and they're nodding off or passed out, many of the kids on this poster had friends with them just minutes or even hours before they died. That if one of those friends had blocked their number, if you're scared, block your number, and called 911, a lot of these kids would be alive today. So please, if you're with a friend or you know someone who is getting into trouble, don't leave them at that moment. Get someone to call 911.
One more thing, sorry. I'd like to also introduce a man, a father, who took his time to, he was in Starbucks and he saw my poster in Starbucks. And he, bless his heart, gave me a call and said, I'm a father. I found the poster to be powerful and I want to help you. So his son goes to the school, and Nassim, will you stand up? I want to thank you. Please, stand up. Started a website. Please log on to my website called onechoicecandestroy.com and give me your input, make some comments, and spread the word. Thank you.
You can also like us on Facebook. If you search Overtaken, you can send us private messages. If you know someone that needs help, if you need help, we have a lot of resources, interventionists, rehab centers, counselors. The kids in the movie who give out their cell number are willing to advise people. You can like us on Facebook and send us a private message. All information is kept confidential. And at this time, we'd like to start the film. We hope you enjoy it.
And I went to private high school, Santa Margarita Catholic High School. I graduated in 2009, and I was on cheer. I did well my senior year, and I was so excited to graduate that I just wanted to go party with my friends. And EDC, the rave, was in June. So we were like, hey, let's go to this rave, you know? So I went to the rave with a few of my friends, and I took ecstasy. And I ended up overdosing on the dance floor. And my boyfriend at the time carried me up the Coliseum stairs, and I was brought to the hospital. While I was at the hospital, I was being resuscitated for 2 hours. And from there, I fell into a coma for 2 months. I had complete organ failure. My liver wasn't working, my lungs. I was throwing up black stuff in my coma. I was hooked up to dialysis machines every day. And I had 4 strokes. I woke up in about August, and I had no idea why I was there. All I know is that I could not walk, and I could barely talk. I would just mumble. And I felt like I was trapped in a lifeless body that couldn't move. I knew what was going on. I knew what I wanted to say, but I couldn't verbalize or act it out, so I was like trapped. And from there, I was in the hospital in LA, Good Samaritan. And from there, I was transported to Mission Hospital. And I went through extensive rehab, trying to relearn to walk. I was in a wheelchair. And I had to relearn how to talk. And after 2 months of being there, they couldn't really help me anymore. And I was still in the wheelchair and in the best shape. So I had to be transported to CNS in Bakersfield. I was there for 3 months, and I was surrounded by paraplegic people, like people in wheelchairs who couldn't even lift a finger. It was probably one of the scariest things I've seen, because in Orange County we're so sheltered that we don't get to like see what else is out there, the different people, different like disabilities. So at that rehab, and by rehab I mean physical rehab, I was never in a 12-step rehab like for drugs. Anyways, at that place, I had to go to therapy every single day. We learned how to write, talk, eat, brush my hair, put on chapstick, everything. And I was in a wheelchair. I did not look how I look right now. So people would stare at me and laugh at me. So I lived in mentally disabled people's shoes for a while, so I know how it feels to be like made fun of or laughed at, and it doesn't feel very good. And so from CNS, I had to go back to, they let me go, and I was in a cane. And I couldn't go to school. I was like, I'm not going to school in a cane. Like, I still can't really speak. Like, I'm not very good. So from there, I went back to Mission Hospital for another 3 months. And finally, I was able to walk on my own, but not good. I ran into walls. I still do sometimes. I have balance problems. My speech has improved a lot. But I'm still working on stuff, and it's been about 2.5 years. I was supposed to go to college. I was going to SPCC, Santa Barbara City College, and I couldn't go there. I couldn't do everything my friends were doing, go to sororities. I was living in and out of hospitals for like 1.5 years straight. And I was never a drug addict. I never craved drugs. I never woke up and had to find drugs and shoot myself up with heroin or anything. I just wanted to party. I was 18. I thought I was invincible. I felt like I could make my own rules, that I didn't have to listen to my parents. And it not only affected me, but it majorly affected my family. My younger brother had major problems, and after this happened to me, one of his best friends overdosed and died. So he checked out of school, had to go to continuation school. He's doing a lot better now, but I hated having to see him go through that because we were super close. And my mom, she still has post-traumatic stress disorder, I think. She has flashbacks of me in the hospital. And I never want my family to have to go through that. Ever, like, I think that was the worst part, is seeing what I put my family through. And a lot of my friends, who I thought were my best friends since like 5th grade, I've been in private school forever, they completely abandoned me and just left me, so I had no one. Like one of my best friends told me that she couldn't be associated with me and that she couldn't talk to me, never like talk to her again. And we've been friends since 5th grade. We used to go camping and all this. So I was pretty much alone through all of this. And it was probably it was the hardest thing I've ever had to go through. But I'm not glad I went through what I did to the extent I did, but I'm glad it happened to me because I don't know where I would be right now if that didn't happen to me. Like, Santa Barbara is a huge party school, so I would have probably checked out of school, started drinking, like, I don't know where I'd be. Now I go to Saddleback and know what I want to do in life. I have my head on straight. I focus in school. So some good did come out of this, but it was really tough, and just drugs like aren't the answer. In high school, when you get there, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie. You try and fit in, but just stay true to yourself and know that when you get to college, no one cares who you were in high school. You can reinvent yourself, and high school won't matter anymore. Like, kids will make fun of you and do mean things, but just keep your head up and don't stoop down and do drugs to try and fit in or drink to be cool, because it's really not that important. Those kids don't end up being cool in the future. So that's it. If anyone has questions.
We're available for questions. Asia is as well, and it always takes that first person to go ahead and ask us one, but we really appreciate it if you can give us feedback, comments, if you have questions. That's what this time is for. So someone would be great to be the first one. No questions. Not one question after that whole thing. Come on. There we go. Thank you. That's a good question. It comes from a lot of places. Doctors' offices, or friends selling it, or online. I mean, there's a lot of places. Dirty doctors. Yeah. Yes.
Asia, in your peer group, before you went through it as you did, and kind of, I mean, were your friends involved in drugs before you went through it? Was that your first experience?
That wasn't my first experience. I had been to a couple raves before then, but the friends I hung out with were the same as me. They weren't drug addicts or anything. They were good girls. Some a little scandalous, I guess, but but yeah, I don't know what else to say. They weren't bad kids necessarily, but one of my friends that I hung out with a lot was very sneaky, and my counselors and deans would warn my mom and say this girl's bad news, and I wouldn't listen. And that night at the rave, I was with her, and when I was overdosing, she left me. So.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
For an individual who is still stuck in this kind of like vicious cycle, what would be the best, treatment pathway, so to speak?
The best treatment for them if they're stuck in a vicious cycle? The best thing to do is reach out and ask for help, or if it's if it's someone you know, or if it's yourself, then the best thing to do is reach out and ask for help. If from your family, if you're close to your family, if your family, you feel like you can't be that brave to do that, then reach out to a counselor, to a pastor, to friends' parents. You can, contact us, and we can give lots of, we have an interventionist who will even be the one to go over to the house and announce to the family, like, if you have a friend, for instance, who you know is getting in trouble, and you don't want to be the one to call the parents and ruin your relationship, we have a guy who will go over to their house and announce to the parents, your child has this and such drug problem, and you need to know about it, and that's all the information they're going to be given. They're not going to be given who said it or where it came from or anything. So there is a big community of people willing to help and ways to get help.
Also, on my website, One Choice Can Destroy, I have really great resources and some really good counselors on there as well. And speaking of my website, Nassim would like to say something.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, most of us look at this video and the work that they've done and say, I won't do drugs. Hopefully, everybody here will do that. But some of us will have that voice still inside of us that says, oh, that won't happen to me. And I want to talk to you, that individual, those people who still have a voice inside that says it won't happen to me. That's the voice of arrogance and ego, very dangerous. That same voice can be very powerful and give you courage to talk about it to your friends, to other people. If you're doing it and that voice, while only you know, nobody else needs to know. But if while you were watching that video, there was that voice inside you that says it won't happen to me, be very cautious and use that voice, that power to talk about it, to seek help, do something about it, because that is the voice that ends up there. So keep that in mind.